Today, Joe Biden is announcing his Supreme Court nominee, the latest on Russia and Ukraine, and the CDC announces another change in masking guidelines. We've got the latest for you today, and it all starts right now. Happy Friday. Welcome to the news and why it matters. I am Sarah Gonzalez. As you can see, I am not in my house still, and I am not wearing my controversial glasses. So hope everyone's happy, excited. We're excited to be here. It's still freezing cold outside, but there's no more ice. So we're here. The crew was able to come in. Everything's great. By the way, Alex Stein, who looks like he wants to say something.
Sarah, what are you talking about? I just have to say, everybody loves the librarian. Wear the glasses. And one guy does not let him spoil the bunch for one day. Everybody has a librarian fantasy. Do not ruin that. And he probably has book fines or something that he still has PTSD about. Glasses, wear them. Please.
I appreciate it.
Yes.
I appreciate it. I mean, not why I'm wearing them, but I will say they do come in very handy because on days where, like, I do have two children and work full time, and when you don't have anyone to watch your children and the school's out, and it just gets very chaotic. So whenever, for those of you who watch the program a lot, they know when I show up in glasses or a bun, they're like, Sarah's had a tough day. Sarah has had a tough day so far.
But Sarah, you do it so gracefully. Do not beat yourself up. I think Sarah looks, come on, she looks like a superstar, literally.
We're team glasses here, Sarah. Team glasses.
What are you talking about? No, but this isn't the Kiss Sarah's butt show. I'm just saying, Sarah.
It can be. We can make it that.
But one of these internet trolls, they're all there. They all have, insecurities that are even way worse than yours. So let them. That's their therapy. Sadly, as a beautiful woman, you're going to be a pincushion for people that are, they call haters. You know what I mean? So I think that's just part of it. That actually means that you are successful and that you are a shining light, because they're like, oh, I can't handle it because my insecurities, they want to deflect. And that's all it is a coping mechanism for your greatness.
I appreciate that, Al. Alex really wants to come back.
I do. I love Sarah. I just can't believe, Sarah, you got a great show. You're at Blaze. You're just a successful woman, successful mother. And then you would have any insecurities and just start trolling the internet. I'm like, I want to wring his neck. Oh, give me a break.
Well, we're off to a good start here.
She already said I commented back on one troll. I'm like, no, Sarah,
he got really mad at me.
That troll is like, yay. Oh, I'm so happy you have that, Sarah.
It wasn't even a troll. It was a fan of the show. I'm like, why are you dogging me when you watch the show? My goodness. As I say often, who needs friends? Who needs enemies with friends like these? I also want to introduce Jorge Ventura, reporter from The Daily Caller. And also, Jorge, I think the fans know now whenever you come into town, you have a new documentary out because you're like the documentary machine, just producing these documentaries every chance you get. I don't know when you sleep, but it is. Tell us about the new one.
Yeah, so we just released the Hero to Zero documentary. It can be found on HeroToZeroDoc.com. And we just wanted to do something different at The Daily Caller. We were looking at, the corporate press has essentially, held any frontline workers like police officers, nurses, teachers as these kind of frontline heroes, has praised them. And look, rightfully so, it was the height of the pandemic. I'm from Los Angeles, so our mayor, Eric Garcetti, told us that at 6 p.m. every night, we had to bang our pots and pans. And as soon as the mandates started coming, we saw the corporate press started to demonize these first responders, people in the working class, middle class. So we didn't agree with that, and we wanted to give back and give these people a voice and tell their stories of what they're going through. And it's some pretty sad stuff. One of the firefighters featured in a documentary, Josh, sadly, he's been placed on unpaid leave since October. So till today, as we're speaking right now, he hasn't received a paycheck. He has a mortgage. He has 4 kids. He has a wife. And right now, we see that the corporate press is cheering on also the firing of these workers. So we wanted to do something for them, give them a voice, and tell their stories and show, hey, these are real people that are going through this just for making their own personal decisions. After being on the front lines of the pandemic, most of these frontline workers like nurses, firefighters have already contracted COVID. And if we're going to trust the science, according to the CDC, natural immunity protects them 6 times more than a vaccine. So yeah, we just released it, HeroToZeroDoc.com. Please check it out and share it and it's just like I said, it's telling the stories and giving a voice to the first responders.
Yeah, well, we appreciate the work that you're doing constantly. Again, I really don't know when you sleep, but we thank you. We thank you for that. Go ahead.
So do you think they take advantage of him in the documentary? Is it just to set an example, though, just to scare people, to fearmonger people in the future? Like, why do you think they are going after the first responders so bad? Because I haven't seen the documentary, in your opinion, Jorge.
I mean, to be honest, I have no idea. It almost seems like they're being scapegoated. Yeah. And like I said, right now, like when these first responders, like, all right, if I'm being placed on unpaid leave, like when am I getting fired or anything? The county won't give them a date, so they're just kind of been stuck in limbo. I think they're just trying to make an example, of these folks. The LA Times even put out an editorial saying we need to build back better by firing all the anti-vaxxer firefighters after those firefighters were like saving people's lives for the past 2 years. Right. So I have no idea, but right now in California, it's becoming a big fight. And the good thing, now that the mandates are starting to drop, so hopefully something works out there where these folks will get their jobs back and at least get some type of back pay. I mean, to go since October without getting a paycheck is criminal.
Well, everyone, make sure that you check that documentary out. I want to switch gears here, and I think Russia and Ukraine is obviously the top story globally, but we discussed that at great lengths yesterday on the program. There's a little bit that's transpired since then, but I do want to get to first Joe Biden, who has apparently selected his Supreme Court nominee. He tweeted out earlier, "I'm proud to announce that I am nominating Judge Ketanji Brown Jackson to serve on the Supreme Court. Currently serving on the U.S. Court of Appeals for the D.C. Circuit, she is one of our nation's brightest legal minds and will be an exceptional justice." I love that all of the articles that I'm seeing about this, like one of the first things they say is that she would be the first Black woman to serve on the Supreme Court. And I'm like, I know, that's why he picked her. Wasn't that weren't we already told that that was literally the only criteria that he had? So I don't think you need to put that at the very beginning of the freaking article.
And the original Black Supreme Court justice that was nominated, Biden, was the one that stopped that. So it's like he actually stopped progress. But listen, Ketanji Jackson, no relation to Michael Jackson, for the people that say that.
Are you sure?
Everybody's saying that. I want to squash that rumor. No relation. No, but you're right.
Thank you for confirming
that.
It's
the problem. It's the intersectionality. I mean, it's with the entertainment, too. It's like, you can't even have a hit TV show or any TV show on a major network if you don't have like a, trans, character that is person of color, that is fighting some sort of existential conflict that is propaganda for like the mainstream news. So that's where we're at right now. It's like, the creativity is gone, in my opinion.
I want to bring up. Look, as soon as they announced, I was like, I need to look into this woman. Look into like what are her views, what is her history. I do know that she has faced some scrutiny where she sits now on the Circuit Court of Appeals for overturned decisions. So apparently she has had a lot of decisions that have then gone on to be overturned. It's almost like she might be trying to be an activist from the bench. I don't know, and change law from the bench. But Jorge, what are your thoughts on? Oh, let me give you one more. I did see online that her husband, who is a doctor, an MD, does have pronouns in the bio on Twitter. So
that's great to know.
So they're those people. Yeah.
Well, is she worse than them expanding the Supreme Court, in your opinion, than hiring her that's going to go inside?
No, because she's just going to replace a liberal for a liberal is not like it's a wash, in my opinion. It's just interesting to see how they're making the choices.
And I think, too, Amy Coney Barrett also hasn't even been ruling with the sides of conservatives, so it's a big loss. The thing that, I guess we would all agree is just pick the best person for the job. Biden, I guess, has a history of not doing that. Even when it came to the vice president pick, he said, hey, I'm going to pick a woman of color. Ended up being Kamala, who is extremely unpopular at that time. I think a lot of folks who might have not, who don't remember, but when she was running for president, she was actually polling 1% lower in her home state of California to Andrew Yang, when no one even heard of Andrew Yang
from
or
New York.
UBI. So that's how unpopular Kamala is. I'm not even surprised at this point. I think the next Supreme Court has to be like, you got to now be Black, trans, you got to be like not everything. I guess pansexual.
They're gonna
get the pick.
They're not gonna be able to find anyone. Crap.
You're saying that. So do you know about Sam Brinton, who the guy who's in charge of Biden's nuclear waste energy, is a furry. He's a. Have you seen this guy? His name is Sam Brinton. Look him up, and he's in charge of the nuclear waste of our.
He's trans something, right?
He's a transsexual, but he's pansexual, and he's a furry.
I don't even know what these mean.
Which is okay, but I'm just. just saying.
I'm like, what dating site do you use, bro?
But and the thing is, he has an incredible story. He had Mormon parents, and they put him through gay conversion therapy. So that's why he's like a little extra flamboyant. That's according to his own story. So, but what I'm saying is, he's a nice guy. I love Britain. I'm happy. I want him to be more flamboyant. But I think he gets picked for the job because of his flamboyance and not his brain power. Right. So that's where, and listen, I live on flamboyance. I get picked because of flamboyance all the time. And so I can call a spade a spade. We need to pick people because of their content, of their character, and not because of the color of their skin. No matter the color. Yes, you're welcome.
Well, I mean, how about the Rachel Levine? I don't even remember what his real name is, but
Richard. It was Richard.
Is it Richard?
Yeah, it's Richard Levine.
They always pick this with the same. They start it with the same letter. Whatever the letter is of their first name, they don't want to deviate from that, which I find fascinating. Why is that? I don't know. You're supposed to be a completely different person. Why does it need to keep the same first letter of your name? But this is a person who is working in the Department of Health and Human Services.
Well, if you look at
arguably with a very, very bad mental health problem.
Who looks like they haven't been in a gym in like 20 years.
That is also true.
All you have to do is look at any health minister. Looks like they're about to pass away. Right? I mean, they're either 500 pounds or they're like the LA one. I forget her name, but I mean,
she's so frail.
She looks like hasn't eaten in months. I mean, she looks like she's going to just keel over. But Jeez. That's where we're at. The people that are in charge of our health have not once during this whole entire pandemic said, hey, go out and get some vitamin D, go out and exercise. Right. Maybe even look at your diet and don't eat so much genetically modified crap.
What I found interesting too, Alex, when we're going through all this, the only country that I've seen actually go and promote, hey, go run, get some sun, has been the president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele. He put out this kind of viral video on Twitter where he encouraged the citizens, hey, go out there, get some sun, exercise. There's other ways to beat COVID than just the vaccine. And a little country of El Salvador, they were able to send every citizen ivermectin. We're in the richest country in the world, and we can't even do that. I'm hearing from friends that even if they order the stay-at-home COVID test, it takes them 4 weeks to even receive it.
So they're already completely over all of their virus by the time they receive the test. That's efficient.
And these PCR tests, come on, I mean, they're a joke. And you're administering them at home. I mean, that's not a way to tell. And, you don't really know if you're contagious or not. But listen, everything the CDC says is great, and I love them. And stay vaccinated, get your booster, safe and effective. So I just want to be on the safe side.
I want to get back to the Supreme Court really quickly because I think it'll be interesting to see how the Republicans handle this. Are they going to fight at all? I'm talking your Lindsey Grahams, your Mitt Romneys, your Mitch McConnells, these people.
I don't know about them.
Are we even going to hear any pushback from them at all?
Well, Lindsey Graham's been going on mainstream media and actually saying that he likes the direction Biden is headed with his pick. So I don't see like a Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, the Rhinos. I actually think they're pretty happy with the pick. I don't see them fighting at all.
They don't care. They don't care. They could care less. Yeah. They're going to put her in. And because you know why? Because they don't want to make it look like what they do with Amy Coney Bryant, and because they don't want to look. Yeah, they don't want to look as I guess they just don't want to look as ingenuine and spiteful like the Democrats looked with the last elections of the Supreme Court justices. In my opinion.
Do you think that is a mistake on the Republicans' part?
That they're doing it for optics to not look as bad? Probably.
Yeah, do you think that they're concerned with how they look morally, right? Because it's I don't, at the end of the day, I don't really think the Democrats give a crap whether you look bad or not. They're still going to do it every time. Right. They're still going to get in the mud.
And the Republican voters want to see them fight. And if they,
that's what I think.
And I think this past year, Republican voters have just been constantly disappointed time and time again. With these Republicans who are just selling us out at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the Rhinos, they're trying to get probably black women to vote for them too. So why, I don't. It's kind of like how Michael Jordan never got political because he said Republicans buy shoes too. You know what I'm saying? You want to, these guys, even though they put off this sense, they're so conservative, they still want to align with the populist probably ideas and agenda.
Yeah, and I know we have to get to the break to thank our sponsor, but I do want to. That reminds me of a conversation that I was just having, which is I still am seeing people in Texas who, everyone knows I'm Chad Prather, my best friend. He's obviously running for Texas governor. Obviously, I can't speak for the network. I personally endorse him wholeheartedly. And, people are like, well, what are you doing? You can't split the Republican vote. You can't. And I'm like, please learn how primaries work, because this is like the exact reason for a primary, so that you don't split the vote, and then the people don't want the vote split, which is not what happens, but they don't want the vote split because they say, well, Abbott's our only chance at beating Beto. And I'm like,
oh, no.
That's not true.
I don't think it's true either. And it takes me back to when people said, well, it's Obama. We have to run someone in the middle, moderate, like Mitt Romney. Let's run him. We can't do anyone too polarizing. And it's like, you see how that works out for us whenever we try to like placate and go, well, we have to run someone who reaches out to the other aisle because then we won't get into, well, the Democrats might not vote for us. They're not freaking voting for you anyway. Like, wake up.
Yeah, I don't think Abbott's done enough to defend the mandates on the big businesses. You know, he acts like he has, but I really think, you know, Prather, Huff Hines, even Allen West are better options, in my opinion, than
all of them would be better options,
than Abbott.
yeah.
That's how I feel.
Especially on the border too. Abbott has failed on the border. I know. It's easy to blame Biden at this point and point the fingers, but at the end of the day, we're in Texas.
Yeah.
He's the governor.
Yeah.
And when you're down there in South Texas and you speak to those voters there,
right.
I haven't spoke to one single voter in South Texas who's happy with Abbott at this point.
Yeah.
Because the sex trafficking, the drugs to the border, that is his responsibility.
Yeah, 100%. So just so you guys remember, a primary is much different than the general. If it is Abbott in the general, obviously I'm going to vote for the Republican against Robert Francis O'Rourke. Just want to make that clear. All right, we've got to go to break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Tommy John. So I was actually just wearing my Tommy John's. I'm going to admit to this. Those of you who watch the program from home, I'm talking about lounge pants, by the way. Those of you who watched the program yesterday, I was doing it from home. And I actually was wearing my Chad Prather hoodie, but on the bottoms, because you guys couldn't see me on screen, I was actually just wearing my Tommy John lounge pants, and I wore them all day. And my son went to go play with a friend, and I went to go pick him up, and I was like, I don't think I'm going to change. I think I'm just going to wear these lounge pajama pants to go pick him up. And I sure did. You know why? Because they are the most comfortable things I have ever put on my body. Everything from Tommy John has been the softest fabric, the softest material that I have ever worn in my life, in my entire life. They sent some, I got some for my husband as well. So they started out with men's underwear. I know that is like the primary focus, but you will find something for everyone over at Tommy John's. He says, by the way, too, most comfortable.
The underwear is insane.
Ever.
The Tommy John underwear is nice, breathable.
It's incredible. Yeah.
No, it really is. It's the breathability that makes the Tommy John difference.
I'm glad that you said that, because one day that was in my script and I was like, I'm not reading that.
The breathability is important. You need it because there's a lot that festers down there. You need to air it out. You got to get the.
Well, there you go. It gets the Alex Stein endorsement. Returns and exchanges are free with Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear, or its free guarantee. You can get 20% off your first order right now at TommyJohn.com/Y. That is TommyJohn.com/Y. See site for details. The latest on Russia and Ukraine, it is getting extremely tense over there. I know that there have been reports that, Russia is hitting kindergartens and things of that nature. So getting really, really grim. I know that there have also been some very heart-wrenching videos that have gone out, stories that have gone out of Ukrainians just really putting their lives on the line and really showing a lot of pride in their country. Reports are also circulating that Putin has articulated his ultimatums for Kiev. It is to recognize Crimea as Russian, to reject NATO accession, no weapons supplies from the West, and that the Luhansk and Donetsk People's Republic all gained territory that the regions had pre-2014, and that, of course, he intends to keep those regions around. Does seem weird to launch a full-scale invasion over just those particular ultimatums, because it doesn't seem to be too incredibly unreasonable. So it does make you wonder why he went in full force like this, if this was what he was asking for. But regardless, that is what he is asking for. Gentlemen, I want to get your thoughts on this, but I first want to play for you the leader of our country, just a tremendous guy, Joe Biden, who is constantly contradicting himself on the purpose of sanctions, and his wonderful vice president, Kamala Harris, who is also doing the same thing. They're like, well, yeah, sanctions are meant to deter, and then they're like, they're not meant to deter. What are you talking about? Watch.
And number two, no one expected the sanctions to prevent anything from happening.
The purpose of the sanctions has always been and continues to be deterrence.
Wait, what? Can you guys get like your talking points in order, please? Because we don't even, they change. I would say they change from day to day, but I think they've actually changed in the same press conference before. So these are just the leaders of our country. Nothing to be alarmed about, guys.
I mean, typical hypocritical speech from Joe Biden. I mean, I don't think we should expect anything different from this administration. I mean, Jen Psaki from the top down, they're very hypocritical. And you look at this thing, one thing I do want to highlight, though, there's a lot of videos of the citizens of Ukraine getting handed guns to actually go defend themselves. And I think that's I want to make this point. That's why the Second Amendment is important in America, that we have to have guns. You know, we don't know for what reason. It doesn't matter whether it's an armed militia or not. We have to have protection. And that's what separates us from these Ukrainian citizens. So I'm just saying our autonomy is based in the Second Amendment. I think that, for me, that video was like, wow. I can't believe they're just giving citizens guns. They would never do that, I don't think, in America under any circumstance. So we really need to protect our rights that we have here, so we don't end up in a similar situation like that.
Wait, you mean the Second Amendment was not designed for hunting?
Exactly.
Really?
You know what I mean?
Wow,
yes.
that's shocking. Actually, I think a lot of liberals will be shocked to hear that, Jorge.
One of my key takeaways has been actually kind of speaking to Americans, and the thing is the U.S. government and military has actually lost so much trust and confidence since the 2003 Iraq War, where if you speak to Americans, they don't know what to believe at this point. So you had the media kept saying, hey, the U.S. has received some type of intelligence that there's going to be a full-on invasion for like 2 weeks. So a lot of people are like, well, we don't even believe it at this point. I mean, it ended up happening, but it just kind of shows you this kind of distrust with the military and then the information that us citizens get. So we'll see basically how things go forward. The one video that actually stood out to me was there was a video of a Ukrainian father saying bye to his little daughter. That was like, I
ugly cried when
I got emotional,
that.
but it also kind of showed that like, hey, when things get real in your country, you need the men to step up and be men. And here in America, we're like telling our men not to be men anymore. So that was one of my key takeaways. It's like, hey, like when things get real, now you want the toxic masculinity or whatever, right?
Right.
So that was a big takeaway for me.
Yeah. So you're mentioning what the Ukrainians find to be their value system, I should say. Let's talk about Americans' value system when it comes to looking at this Ukrainian-Russian conflict from all the way here in America. Well, I say Americans, but I mean like the bottom of the barrel, women of the view, who Joy Behar actually is under a lot of scrutiny for her comments that she made when they were discussing this conflict. You'll hear, Sunny Hostin, she's like, well, there's going to be a lot of refugees, a lot of people displaced. They're going to have nowhere to go. This is really sad. And Joy Behar's like, yeah, but I planned a vacation in Italy and I'm really upset about that. Watch.
Estimates are 50,000 Ukrainians will be dead or wounded, and that this is going to start a humanitarian crisis, a refugee crisis in Europe. We're talking about 5 million people that are going to be displaced. I mean, it's heartbreaking to hear what is going to happen.
Well, I'm scared of what's going to happen in Western Europe, too. You plan a trip, you want to go there. I want to go to Italy for 4 years. I haven't been able to make it because of the pandemic. And now this, it's like, what's going to happen there?
Yeah, what's going to happen there if you can't take your luxury elitist trip to Italy? Oh, no. I brings a tear to my eye almost just thinking about it, guys.
That's the funniest comedy she's ever said in her entire life. Joy Behar has been a comedian for so long, but just that, her
unintentional,
unintentional, saying, oh, I'm so sad about my vacation. I've been trying to go for 4 years. They're having a war and there's children dying. Oh my God. So that's where we're at. These people are so insensitive to the real needs of society. They're like sit on their pompous throne. Oh, my vacation is ruined. And she says this on TV. And
everyone else on the table is just like nodding, like, yes.
Yeah, you can hear them. They're like, yeah. Do you think that they even, they just know they can't question her? Because I'm listening to them respond like a bunch of seals, and I'm like, are you listening to her, or are you just saying
I mean, she has no self-awareness, because even if she said that to her hairstylist or something, that would seem insensitive. But for her to say that on The View in front of everybody, it really blows my mind, the insensitivity that people that are the talking heads for all the housewives, I guess you'd argue, or just, kind of the women of our generation, I guess their target audience, it's just a bad example of the people that we put in power to speak for us.
Yeah.
Like Behar.
Well, and it's not just her. There's another clip that I wanna play for you guys because I saw it and you have to suffer along with me. Actress Annalynne McCord released this really weird video where she's like, "Dear Putin, this is what would have happened if I was your mom. It would have been much different." Watch.
Dear President Vladimir Putin, I'm so sorry that I was not your mother.
Like, what?
If I was your mother, you would have been so loved, held in the arms of joyous light. Never would the stories plight the world unfurled before our eyes, a pure demise of nations sitting peaceful under a night sky. If I was your mother, the world would have been warm. So much laughter and joy, and nothing would harm. I can't imagine the stain, the soul-stealing pain that the little boy you must have seen and believed, and the formulation of thought quickly taught
She's just
that
stringing
you
words
lived in
together
a
now.
cruel, unjust world. Is this why you now decide no one will get the best of you?
It's just weird always hearing from like the pro-abortion crowd, if I had been your mother. It's like if you had been his mother, you probably would have just aborted him because that's what you guys talk about all the time is your right to kill babies. So I don't know how you can come in with this like motherly, maternal, like I would have just loved you and you would have been much different. As if Annalynne McCord has like paid attention at all to foreign relations up until this very point.
Well, she is the 90210 reboot star.
Yeah, reboot.
So you want to get all of your geopolitical information from the star of 90210. But to that, she does look good. Annalynne, her hair look nice. She does look good. But she's an actress. She should. I mean, she knows how to carry herself. She knows how to be dramatic and say the thing. So
the only positive thing Alex can say is she does look good.
She does.
So that she's got that going for her.
We need a Mexican mom version of like if I was your mother, I would have connected with the
chancla.
Yeah, you would have been so
knocked out.
But no, I love the Hollywood liberals that like when there's like a tragedy or disaster, they just feel like, oh my God, with my one tweet or my one video, like Putin's really gonna stop him in his invasion and be like, oh my God.
Well, have they created a hashtag yet, though? Because if they create a hashtag, that might be what it takes to stop Putin in his tracks.
But aren't you guys nervous how you're seeing the mainstream media defend Ukraine so much? Not that we shouldn't defend. I'm not saying necessarily we shouldn't, but it's like weird now that Hollywood's hopping on it. It makes it seem so ingenuine because I've lost so much trust with the mainstream media.
Yeah.
So you're like, okay, really? Obviously I think Ukraine doesn't deserve to be, bombarded with bombs, but at the same time, because the mainstream media is supporting them so much and going after them, like, gives me trepidation. That's where we're at, where it's like, who can we trust? It's kind of scary.
It is, yeah. All right, we got to take a break. First, we want to thank our sponsor, Omega XL. So if you have pain, whether it be arthritis or maybe you have like elbow problems or joint problems, whatever it is that is causing you pain, what you don't realize most likely is that the root cause of your pain is inflammation. That is why whenever you put on like a topical cream, you rub it on your shoulder if that's what's hurting you and you're like, wow, that feels really good for like 10 minutes and then it completely goes away and you're back in pain. Don't let that happen. You got to try Omega XL. Okay, it's made from an essential fatty acid combination from the waters of New Zealand. So it is drug-free, but it is going to solve that inflammation and it will get you out of pain. And when it does, it can be life-changing. Because I know what it's like to be in pain. By the way, I was in a car accident and messed up a bunch of the discs in my back, and it ruins your whole day. It ruins your mood. You're snapping at your family members. It can really be life-changing to get out of pain. So you got to try it. Order a bottle of Omega XL now. Get a second bottle for free over at omegaxl.com/news. That is omegaxl.com/news. So often we have stories that come up on the program that just highlight the need to get your kids the hell out of public schools. And I always like to make sure to bring as many as I can to the table, just as a helpful reminder for you guys, get the hell out of public schools. This one comes from, again, Texas. So if you think that you're safe if you are in a red state like Texas, you're not, all right? Texas middle school teacher was placed on administrative leave this week after she was caught on camera wishing that conservative Christians would, quote, get COVID and die. Now, I want to play the video clip for you. I do want to point out that it's very hard to hear. It's easier those of you who are just listening on audio, you probably want to go watch the video because it's easier to match it up with her lips to see what she's saying and when she's saying it, because there's a lot of crosstalk going on. But here is that clip. Watch.
We have a political system that will not allow us to happen. So we're vaccinating like the flu, which is, you know, flu vaccine if you want, but you don't tread on.
Yeah, I think we need to put it. I think
but it's too late.
That's very.
It would have had to have been immediate. If we had done it immediately, it'd already be gone. That's what's frustrating. The rest of my life is impacted because of politics, because of conservative behavior. I'm telling you, those conservative Christian people, they need to.
I'm going to see my boyfriend.
So that was teacher Lisa Grimes over at Colleyville Middle School. And just for those of you who had trouble hearing it, she said, we have a political system that will not allow us to something. It was inaudible. So we're vaccinating like the flu, which is, you know, get the flu vaccine if you want, but you can't. Don't tread on me, but it's too late. It would have had to have been immediate. If we would have done it immediately, it would already be gone. That's what's frustrating. The rest of my life is impacted because of politics, because of conservative Christian crap. I'm telling you, those conservative Christians, they need to die. They need to get COVID and die. That is who we have teaching our school children.
Yeah, wow. I mean, it's really sad. And, like, I guess you would say, I would compare, like, cultural events, COVID, to 9/11. But the difference between after 9/11, we were all together. You know, there was a terrible event. But it brought us together. We had camaraderie. We were buddies. We were, you know, we just... But that is so different than what's happening now. Now we're just celebrating when people die, whether they're on either side of the aisle. And we're wishing death upon people. Like, as a normal society, should not do that under any circumstances.
Well, we also had a leader, though, who united us. I mean, say what you will about Bush now. I'm not a huge fan of him. But at that moment, he did at least unite us. We now have a president who goes on stage and tells the entire country that half of you are evil and to blame for everyone else getting sick, even though there's no evidence of it. So it's like we have no leader to unite us.
Well, we don't need to worry about Ukraine or Russia. We're more worried about our neighbors because they have a slight different political viewpoint of us. You know, they've weaponized us against each other. So that's really where we're at now. It's like teachers, these people that are supposed to be the most magnanimous people that are like, you know, low salaries or doing it for the love of the job because they want to be around children and help, now are like wishing death upon the best people have become evil.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, a video like that, you would have expected it coming out of like New York or California, but not Texas.
And this is like, I mean, for those of you who don't, Colleyville is like not far from here. It's a Dallas suburb. It's really not far. Like, it's not a place that people would think would be happening like this, but it's everywhere.
And I think it was a student who filmed that video, but wow, what a powerful video. And I mean, it's only right for a teacher like that, saying something like that about students, you have to be fired for that. I mean...
Yeah, administrative leave, which to me indicates, because they didn't write paid or unpaid. I'm like, all right, if they didn't say whether or not she's still being paid, she's definitely still being paid.
Yeah, I mean, she's going to lose her job as a teacher. She said some stupid comment. I mean, that's where we're at. It's like you go on an airplane now and a flight attendant, if you have Let's Go Brandon, they're going to, you know, duct tape you to the seat. I mean, we're really just fighting with each other. And this teacher is a perfect example of, you know, she's... I guess get woke, go broke, lose your job, maybe not, but we really need to have some more professionalism and not wish death upon each other, especially if you're a teacher.
And also for this teacher, it's like, you live in Texas. What do you expect? Of course, a lot of your kids are going to be Christian conservative. Like, move to Seattle or Portland if you don't want that in Texas.
So what do you think, what has it been that has really, and again, I know that there are a lot of good teachers out there who may teach in public schools. I know they get very frustrated, but it's not, when we say public schools are horrible now and teachers in public schools are horrible now, obviously that is not meaning every single one of them, but as a whole, it's gotten pretty bad. What do you guys think? Is it the unions? Is that what has just really spoiled everything?
I know exactly what it is. It's the indoctrination colleges. When you go to any university this day and age, you're going to be indoctrinated, unless it's like some conservative, you're going to be part of that liberal agenda. It's just part of the indoctrination of a college. So all these teachers have, you know, usually secondary degrees. So they're like so indoctrinated into the psychological operation of liberalism and transgenderism and you know intersectionality. So that's why they're getting the wokest people and they're, you know, putting them through these basic indoctrination camps for 8 years. So that's why these teachers are like that, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's
very
a good
true.
point.
Then, when we were in Virginia, we did an investigation on, Loudoun County and critical race theory and kind of what led to Glenn Youngkin's victory. What was interesting is a lot of teachers gave us a lot of important info that it starts with them first. So, let's say the teachers, they'll join a school district, they'll get actually trained to then push this type of, agenda on their students. So it starts with them, and then it goes down to the students. And look, if more parents find out, get involved with their school boards, you could take control back. We just saw it in San Francisco. We had 3 progressive school board members that were recalled, and those voters were those voters were progressive Democrats that even recalled them. So
you don't screw with parents. You do not screw with Mama Bear or Papa Bear. It will not end well for you, and I think even the left is seeing that now. All right, we got to thank our sponsor. It is MyGoToDoc.com. So MyGoToDoc.com is there for those of you who, you want to be prepared. We're talking about COVID. I know the cases are down right now, but you always want to be prepared. And being prepared means you have to have a doctor that you can trust, who is going to be a COVID expert and who is going to be able to give you to write the prescription for the medications that you're going to need. But more than that, once they write the prescription, you got to know where there is a pharmacy that is going to dispense these off-label medications that are not going to charge you an arm and a leg. You got to go over to mygotodoc.com. They will do that over there. Dr. Saeed Haider is doing something really, really special over there. I've used it. I really, really highly recommend that you use it so that you can be prepared. He is a COVID expert. This is all he does. He's treated over 40,000 patients with 0 deaths. You can register for free, ask questions, as many as you need to, and they will connect you to pharmacies that will ship you a full 28 doses of ivermectin for less than anywhere else online. Like I said, I used it. It was very, very simple, and now I have the peace of mind that I am prepared. You need to be too. You got to go over to mygotodoc.com. That is mygotodoc.com. The CDC, as of the time of this taping, they have not yet come out and given an overview of what specifically they are changing about their mask guidelines, but they are expected to later today. There have been some reports that have already come out that have stated that the CDC is now going to loosen the federal COVID-19 mask guidance, but they are going to focus more not just on cases, but on hospitalizations, things of that nature, which is interesting that now they would choose to do that. But they also say, the report is that that most Americans will live in areas where federal guidelines will say that they are not required to wear masks indoors, including schools, is what we are hearing from these reports. I do find it very interesting that all of this is happening when everyone is paying attention to Russia and Ukraine, and now quietly on a Friday afternoon, apparently, because it's past lunchtime now and no word from them. I find it interesting that now all of a sudden they're going to quietly announce this.
Yeah, it's it's a big distraction. The COVID has just died ever since the war. We see how we fight with Ukraine, and now they don't even want to talk about COVID. But they're obviously doing this.
It was Putin.
Exactly, Putin ended COVID.
Putin ended COVID.
But it's just so obvious. They don't want to talk about it. Everybody has COVID fatigue. But see, it doesn't matter. Even if they lift the mandates, they have to take the masks off the airplanes. Flying stinks.
Yeah.
So that'll be national news when they do that. This is national news, but I'm saying once they lift it on the airplanes, that'll be huge.
How can they keep it? How can they keep it when they're removing it everywhere else? And airplanes have more filtrated air than anywhere else indoors.
Sarah, I let a random stranger, 300-pound guy, give me a physical to fly to, El Paso. So I think they can, they have their own rules in an airport.
That's fair. Oh, God.
They've spread me and done all kinds of stuff at the airport just to go to Las Vegas, Nevada. So I'm not surprised. I guess they're gonna, have all these FAA rules because they do still want us to be under the illusion that there is some sort of virus, but they also want to give some people some joy, because people are just tired of just constantly being under the trauma-based mind control from the media scaring them that they're going to die of a virus.
Yeah, I think this is their preparation for midterms. They're things are pretty bleak all the time. People are pissed that they still have to wear masks. We should probably lighten that up on the back end. Well, but we're following the science, of course.
To be honest, I don't know of anyone that actually listens to the CDC anymore, even on both sides.
Yeah.
A lot of Democratic voters, they started to lose trust in the CDC when they said, well, if you get COVID and you're asymptomatic, instead of isolating for 10 days, just 5 days. Then, they told the nurses to go back. So I don't know if anyone's actually listening to the CDC anymore.
And at this point, if you want to wear a mask, you're going to wear a mask.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, you don't even need...
Some people I want wearing masks.
Yeah, and
definitely.
It's funny,
Alex, you walked in here with 2 masks.
Yeah, I
It was
wear
double
3.
mask.
That's just because my breath was kind of bad. I had some garlic. No, but a guy in my chat was like, I'm anti-mask, but I wear it because my teeth are bad. And I was like, and I kind of felt bad. I'm saying, there are people that might wear a mask for whatever weird reason. But at the end of the day, you shouldn't be wearing the mask because you're like living in fear of these invisible germs. I think that's if you want to wear it, it gives you peace of mind, do it. But I shouldn't be mandated to have to wear it to go to Target and buy, underwear or whatever it is.
Right. Well, Alex, you just had a pretty big thing happen to you in regards to these, the mandates and the pressure that all of these companies are under.
Yes. Okay. So I was basically on an NBC show called Traders. It's going to come out, so you're going to say, if maybe it's going to become a hit show. So I said it here first. I turned it down. They said I had to start, it's films in Scotland. In order to go on the show, I had to start my vaccination schedule to be now in order to be ready a month later to go on the show. So if the show's a hit show, and I turned it down because of integrity, and it's going to be a hit show, and I'm going to look like an idiot.
Well, it's not going to be a hit show if you're not.
Exactly, it's not going to be a hit show. It's going to be a failure. So the people that saw it, you lose because you mandated it. And it's about the principle of it. Like, even though they say, they're not making me get it, it just makes me ineligible by not getting it. That double speak.
Yeah.
It's like, come on, they know it's a mandate, so I'm not going to do it. I'm a once in a lifetime opportunity. I'm throwing in the trash because of integrity, because I don't have any other choice. I'm not going to let them put something in my body without my choice.
Well, which, again, just doesn't make any sense, because even the CDC director has said that the vaccine does not stop.
It's safe and effective, though. Do not say that. No, it's good. It's the best. No, it's the best thing
Rochelle
ever.
Walensky said this. I can say that on YouTube because the CDC said it.
Yeah, but she was just misspeaking. It's the best thing ever. Yeah, it's a take it, get your booster. You're gonna live forever. It actually makes you live longer. Yeah, you can live to 111. That's what they're saying in the new data. Yeah, it's gonna life extension if you get enough. So. We love you, Pfizer. Thank you so much for being there for you. You've been there. Everybody else has not been there, but Pfizer and Moderna, I just want to say thank y'all. Y'all have been there this whole time.
Yeah, the first responders, doctors, nurses who are being fired, they haven't been there at all.
No.
Thank you,
CDC, Pfizer, Fauci
CDC, Leanna Wen at CNN. Thank you so much, Leanna Wen. You've been a lifesaver. Without you during this pandemic, I wouldn't have made it.
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Yeah, exactly. All right, you know what? Let's go ahead and take a quick break. We'll be back. God, I'm not used to it being warm in here. All right, before we go, a reminder to catch Jorge's new documentary. Again, this is like his bazillionth documentary because all he does is work. No play, just work. But he does it for you guys because there's important information to get out there. Jorge.
Yeah, please check it out, guys. Like I said, it's an important story of, it's LAPD officers, firefighters, nurses, teachers who have made a personal decision, who have been not only fired or, placed on unpaid leave, but have been demonized by media, the local media, the Los Angeles Times, by the mayor, Eric Garcetti, by our governor, Gavin Newsom. And it's basically them against the world. So we just want to, like I said, give them a voice, tell their stories and their battles of, making their personal decision.
Yeah,
so it's an important story.
Are you working on anything new right now?
So right now,
you're
next
always
month
doing something.
Next month we're headed up to Northern California, and we're going to do a sequel to the very first documentary that we filmed, which was the Cartelville USA.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at all the Mexican drug cartels, Chinese mafia, illegal marijuana operations up in Northern California, Shasta County. So we'll be up there pretty soon. So as soon as we have that up, it looks like I'll be back here and we'll be talking.
They call that the Emerald Triangles, so that's where you're going.
Yeah,
wow.
We'll be going up to there's a mountain up there called Murder Mountain,
wow.
where a lot of shootings take place with these illegal marijuana operations. So we want to really tell this whole story, because now we're seeing these drug cartels actually move into the other states in America producing this. So, but yeah, check out the new documentary. It's the Hero to Zero. We made our own website for it, so it's just HeroToZeroDoc.com. We have the trailer there as well if you want to send it to a family and friend.
Well, thank you for all of your hard work on that again. All right, those of you who have not yet done so, make sure that you go over and submit a review wherever you get your audio podcasts. It helps more people be able to find the show. And as you all know, the conservatives, the algorithm is against us on purpose. So make sure to help us beat that. Also, you may see a review read live on air, like the one today from .dev, 5 stars, they say. The news and why it matters. Wow, today's show was the bomb. Love your A.G. Paxton fighting the fight. He needs to be on again. Thank you for all you do. Yes, we were so happy to be joined by Ken Paxton himself. As a reminder, Texas, by the way, last day for early voting today. The polls close at 7. I know Chad Prather would appreciate your vote. Ken Paxton would appreciate your vote. Bush is running against him, so go vote for Ken Paxton. Go vote for Jeff Leach if you're in District 67. Just make sure that you go vote.
Go vote.